The village did not like outsiders. The people got worried, reported to the precinct officer. He arrived, checked the documents, reassured everyone that it is a distant relative of grandmother Zinaida, who died several years ago at the age of 96 years. Grandma Zina never had any relatives, not even children. Everyone marveled. And the young woman began to settle in. She dug a few beds in the neglected vegetable garden and planted something. People laughed. Who plants a vegetable garden in the middle of summer? And soon the seedbeds turned green. And what a bunch of them. It wasn't without intervention of evil forces, the villagers decided. That's how her nickname stuck. She avoided people, didn't tell anything about herself, lived in seclusion. And secrets, as you know, arouse curiosity, generate gossip and speculation. Soon rumors started to spread in the village that she had run away from her unhappy love and taken the jewelry of her rich lover. So she hid with them in a remote village. And then one of the women's children turned blue and began to suffocate. Where to run to? It's 10 kilometers to the hospital, and it's impossible to find a car in broad daylight. The woman ran to Marja the sorceress with the baby. The woman grabbed the child, shook his head downwards, tapped him on his back, and a piece of a toy came out of the boy's mouth. After that, Maria was respected, but also feared. But Nikolai fell in love with her. His mother lamented. There are plenty of young girls, and he has made a pass at a grown-up woman. One day Nikolai's mother stands in front of Maria's house and starts to cry that she has bewitched her son, given him a witch's potion. Nikolai takes the sobbing mother home, and he goes back to Mary. And the lovers lived together without regard for gossip and gossip. A year later, Maria gave birth to a daughter, Raya, and 3 years later, another Zoya. People left them alone. Their mouths were full of their own worries. One day after a strong thunderstorm, the roof leaked, and Nikolai climbed up to fix it. Already getting down, he stumbled and fell, badly broken. Maria brought a doctor from the district center. He looked at it, said that it was urgently necessary to take Nikolai to the city. Maria arranged for a car, took Nicholas to the hospital, and returned to the children herself. A month later, a car stopped in front of her house. A wheelchair on wheels was taken out of it, and Nikolai was placed in it. His spine was broken, and he could not walk. Someone said that this was Maria's punishment for a spell. Maria took Nikolai out on the porch, and she was so fond of him. She didn't leave him. She wooed him. She loved him. And people were powerless against such love. People even said that she was treating him, and that Nicholas was about to get back on his feet. He was sitting on the porch and carved from wood different animals to children, weave baskets. He was good at it, and men invite him. They invite him. How? A woman was carrying him in her arms, dancing around him. They should be like that. Love is known to work wonders. And indeed, Nicholas began to slowly try to get up. One day he was sitting on the porch, making something, and the knife fell, rolled down the steps. Maria was digging in the garden at that time. Nikolai decided to try to come down from the porch and pick up the knife, but he could stand up on his feet, but could not hold on and fell down the steps. There was a scythe near the porch. Maria was mowing the grass in the yard, but did not clean it. Nikolai must have hit it when he fell, and it sank into his neck. Maria was very sorry for Nicholas. They thought she would go to her grave with him. Her daughters dragged her away from the coffin. She was left alone. No husband's pension, no earnings on baskets and toys. And they lived, not begging. There was talk that Maria was selling stolen jewels. After finishing school, the elder Raya went to town and learned the profession of a hairdresser. When she came to the village for the weekend, some would go to her to get their hair cut. Some would take the children. They paid her in food. Without a husband in the village is bad to live. You need to keep an eye on the house, especially for such an old one as Mary's. The men would help lift the fence or fix the roof, hoping for affection. But Maria accepted help, fed them, gave them vodka, but would not let them go to bed with her. Jealous women came to Maria's house one day, and began to demand that she share with them the secrets of her youth. So many years had passed, and she had not changed. Let her share her diamonds, or they will burn her and her house down. Whether they are lying or not, they only say that Maria came out to them blackened and gray-haired. The women recoiled. How could she grow old at once? She is a sorceress. The women went away out of harm's way. The loss of her lover took a toll on Maria's health. She began to fall ill often. She never went further than the vegetable garden. She sent her youngest daughter to the store, and Zoika grew up lively and beautiful. Her graduation exams were coming up, and she only had dancing on her mind. One night she was going to the club, but Maria shouted and wouldn't let her in. The neighbors heard her and her daughter arguing. Stepanida saw Zoika jump out of the house like a ball out of water and run to the club. In the middle of the night, Stepanida heard a knock at the window. She lived next door to Maria. In fact, it wasn't without her participation that gossip was spreading about her in the village. Stepanida ran out in her nightgown, wanted to scold the girl for almost breaking the glass in the window. But the girl was bawling and only kept repeating, "Mama, Mama," and pointing at the house. Stepanida realized that trouble had struck and went to Maria. She was laying by the stove, with blood stained on her temple. She went to get her husband. They put her on the bed and took Zoya to her place. She flatly refused to stay in the house with the dead woman. In the morning, the policeman arrived. Zoya told him how her mother would not let her go to the dance, how they fought, how she pushed Maria away and ran away from home. She swore her mother was alive then, shouting something after her. Stepanida confirmed it, though she could not remember whether she had heard Maria screaming before Zoya ran out of the house or after. The policeman did not want to ruin the young girl's life and attributed her mother's death to an accident. She had been punished enough. She was alone. Raya came to bury her mother. She did everything as she should, held a wake for the whole village. But the sisters didn't speak to each other. At night, Zoika ran away from home. No one else in the village saw her, and Stepanida said that when Zoika ran to her that night, she had earrings in her ears that made one go blind. She had never seen such. Once again, rumors began to circulate that Maria really had diamonds, and that Zoika had found them and stolen them, and then ran away not to share them with her sister. Maybe Maria wanted to take them from her daughter. That's why she paid with her life. Raya tried to shut up the gossips. But how can you deal with the villagers? The only entertainment was to talk about what had happened. Her elder sister came to the village for a while, looked after the house, harvested the crops that Maria had grown. And then she disappeared too. The house was old before, and now it fell on one side. Someone had broken the glass in the window. Maybe the rumors about the gold were bothering the adolescents. They were looking for a hidden treasure. It had been 7 years. Stepanida twisted, as if a slab lay on her back, and bent her to the ground. She was walking from the store, one hand with the bag on her back, and the other waving at her head like a skater on the ice. She was walking so fast that she could not keep up. Already she passed by the house of Mary the sorceress, but with lateral vision she noticed something bright. She stopped, turned her head, and saw a young woman on the bench, and a boy of 5 knocked down nettles with a stick near the fence. A lot of nettles grew that year. Stepanida knew at once that it was not the older of the sisters, not Raya. Raya was strict. She did not paint her face. This one had a lot of makeup and red hair scattered over her shoulders. She looked like an actress in a movie. "Zoika, are you there? You've come home. Is this yours?" Stepanida pointed at the boy. Zoika rushed to her and started hugging her. "But I can't get into the house. Can Uncle Misha help you open the lock? I'll send him right away. Wait for him." Stepanida went to her house, but kept looking around. Soon her husband came up, broke the lock, opened the door, and followed him into the house. It was dark and damp. There were things lying on the floor and ripped up pillows. I was patching the broken window with plywood and planks to keep the kids out of the house. "I'll put the glass back in later. You clean up here, and then come to us. Stepanida will feed you," he said as he left. At Stepanida's table, Zoya told him about her experiences in the city. She worked in a factory, lived in a dormitory. Her boyfriend dumped her when he found out she was pregnant. Then they asked her out of the hostel. Lived with a man, but he turned out to be a thief. He went to jail, and her mother kicked her out. So she came home to the village. I'll live for a while. I'll decide what to do next. Zoya finished her story. And you're right. Your mother is not lost here. Just ran away from the scourge. And you will not be lost. The land will feed you. Stepanida shook her head. She gave potatoes, bread, a jar of pickles to Zoya for the first time. At night, the glass in the window shook again. Stepanida looked out, and there were Zoya and her son. They both had huge eyes, the size of tea saucers. She let them in. Zoyka, stammering, said that at night someone was walking around the house, muttering. The floorboards creaked. The dishes on the shelves tinkled. Kolenka was very frightened. She named her son after her father. She won't set foot in the house again. I know my mother came to see me. She didn't forgive me. What are you talking about, girl? Mother died a long time ago. And it's your conscience that's bothering you. It's true. You've offended your mother. Stepanida squinted her eyes. Zoya turned her face to the side. We had a fight then. If I hadn't gone to the club, she'd still be alive. I can't forgive myself for leaving her. I won't go there again, Zoya said. Stay with me as long as you want, offered the kind-hearted Stepanida. But Zoya didn't want to be a housemaid. A widower lived in the village. The children grew up and left. He had a housekeeper himself, even kept a cow. His last name was Belov. That's why everybody called him Billy. They forgot his real name a long time ago, so he invited Zoyka to live with him. The house needs a mistress, and the boy could use a man's hand. Zoya quickly found her way, started selling milk at a higher price. Dachniks with children came for the summer. All wanted to fatten up their children with cow's milk. To improve their health, they bought it, but what could they do? Zoyka found a gold mine. She lived at Belogos for 2 months. She also came home sometimes, for a short time, and only in the daytime. Kolenka got stronger and spent all day with the other kids in the village, and one night the whole village woke up to a blaze. Marja, the sorceress's house, was on fire. It burst into flames like a candle. They didn't try to put it out. They watered Stepanida's house so it wouldn't catch fire too. In 2 hours there was nothing left of Maria Witch's house, except a pile of burnt logs and a wreck of the stove. The boys, of course, wandered around the ashes the next day. Don't go there. The logs and bricks were still hot there. You'll get wet, warned Zoya. How can you hold the boys back? Houses don't burn every day. And soon Kolenka came running. Mom, look what I found. He held out a black lump in his soot-soaked hand. Well, let me see. White came closer, took the lump, rubbed the soot, and sparks flew out in all directions. The gold melted and diamonds glittered in the soot. Zoya jumped up, snatched the lump from White. It was mine. Hid her hand behind her back. So it's true what people said. Your mother had jewels. Was it the earrings you killed her for? I stole from my sister, and she helped you and your mother. She must have burnt the house down so that you could not find anything else, said White, who looked at Zoya in a way that made her recoil. And at night she took her son and Belly's money and ran away. A few more years passed. One day a car stopped at the edge of the village. Raya and her husband got out. They came to check on the house, but found the ashes overgrown with grass. They even took apart the stove brick by brick, looking for diamonds. The very old Stepanida came out to them. She was even more bowed to the ground. She looked at the guests blindly, recognized Raya, and told them about the fire, about the jewels she had found, about Zoe running away from Belogo. Everyone has been deceived by your sister. They say she even killed Maria, though accidentally, so that she did not take her earrings. It's all gossip, Raya only said. The sisters were never seen in the village again. Gold and diamonds obtained by unrighteous means do not lead to good. Once again, rumors that because of the jewels found at the fire, Zoya was killed when she tried to sell them. And Kalinka ended up in an orphanage, but Rhea took him out. She and her husband had no children of their own. I think someone met Rhea in town. Whether she did or not, who knows? But rumors, as you know, do not appear out of thin air. And the mystery of Maria, why and from whom she was hiding in the village, where she got her jewels, no one has solved. They say the diamonds are so strong that fragile human lives are crushed by them. They never brought happiness to anyone. Nikolai first became an invalid, then died. Zoya killed her mother Mary because of them. And then she herself died. Only Rhea's pure soul was untouched by the stones. And though the heat of the stones is tempting to a woman's heart, yet judge for yourselves. Who is the poorer? Decide for yourselves. Which is more precious?